Good midday on this Monday. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities, Subaru, 802 Honda. They're all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights forecaster, VELCO weather hazards forecaster. This will be the VELCO weather outlook. Moderately active weather for this period, which starts today, Monday, and lasts into Saturday. There'll be a series of weak weather systems. Disturbances, really, that'll bring in the first of two mild intrusions, with Tuesday possibly seeing some gusty westerly gradient winds and a little wet snow Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It'll be colder again as we get into the mid to the end of the week, with the best project weather day coming in on Thursday. This courtesy of an area of higher pressure that will ridge across the region, but it won't last long. It'll move on out pretty quickly. More important, storm system will track in thereafter as we get into the front part of this coming weekend, especially Friday night into Saturday. This is a potent storm system that will move into the Great Lakes Friday night into Saturday morning, with the potential for some impacts for utilities. Lowered confidence at this point, but we're looking at gradient wind gusts from the south and southeast, some wet snow potential, some icing potential, transitions to rain, and significant mild intrusion works in during the day, during the afternoon on Saturday. At this time on Saturday, this looks most concerning for utility impacts. Looking at the 500 millibar zonal flow, which is a little bit of a trough, a very weak trough here, and this is causing a little bit of a spin up and lifting motion. And this is producing some areas of rain on its southern end, a little bit of a mix that's going to slide to the south of us, and a little bit of snow that's working in currently across the region. I'm not expecting too much, basically about a ½ inch up to 2 inches in parts of northern Vermont. Temperatures started out relatively cool, so no real issues for impacts in terms of road conditions. However, over time, the snowfall gets a little bit wetter. Daytime highs today should top out around temperatures between 25 and about 32, warmest across western areas where Burlington temperature is already climbing pretty rapidly. Another look here at precipitation types. You can see some rain. A relatively weak weather system, and this is going to be moving on out, but another one's going to replace it. So we have a string of weather basically along the northern tier of the United States that's going to be affecting us through about Wednesday. So we're looking at that weather system. You can see that kind of lighter gray color from the eastern Great Lakes, and this extends into Vermont, and this is bringing us a little bit of snow. These dashed blue lines represent 5,400 meter thicknesses or lower. That means it's cold enough to snow. To the south of us, it's warm enough to rain. So taking a look at the 6-hour increments here. You can see some snow showers and flurries off and on over the next couple of days. Temperatures make a little bit of a rise. As I mentioned, on Tuesday we get into the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. And then colder temperatures follow for a little bit of wet snow. We do have a gradient wind issue here. This is these stronger winds, which will be kind of westerly, as that area of low pressure is fairly weak and departing. I'm not really anticipating anything major from that. So it's one of these mainly isolated gusts 35 to 45, mostly at summit levels. There could be some minor downsloping at some point along the immediate eastern slopes of the Green Mountains. Normally that affects a little bit more in the southern areas of the southern Green Mountains along those eastern slopes. We have high pressure then that builds in as we cool off a little bit and get colder in time. This area of higher pressure brings us a pretty nice Thursday. Then we have the main affair here for this particular period. And this is, I'm going to stop right here at 120 hours. This is valid currently at about 1 o'clock. About 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and this continues to produce some frontal genesis and fills in pretty rapidly with some rain. Now we got some pretty strong southerly winds. You note that the thicknesses in the atmosphere are warm enough for rain, and this is healthier rainfall. These are 6-hour increments, so they're better than 0.15 of an inch. So we're not talking about anything major here, but this is going to be rain on the snow, and that snow more than likely will absorb it. But we do have some gradient wind issues as well. So taking a look at that evolution, it's a little bit far out to be very confident right now, as I think this will evolve several times. But indeed, you can see that those darker blues that's about 0.4 of an inch. and about a 6-hour period. And those reds, that might even be some thunderstorm activity. Now that moves on by as we get into the late part of Saturday, and then conditions actually improve as we get into Saturday night and even during the day on Sunday. We do have another stringy weather system. I'll just carry that over 168 hours here. You'll see this develop. And you note we're in the rain. So as this moves in, we'll see how this works out. Typically these long, elongated kind of frontal, wavy frontal systems can be problematic for us, as we have the Bermuda high is relatively strong. It'll feed a lot of warm air. So we got some issues just ahead of Christmas, folks, so keep a close eye on that, and we'll have later information coming out. Currently looking at the climate reanalyzer, and you can see where the cold air feed is. It's coming in from Siberia, across polar flow, into northern Canada, and occasionally some of that gets down to the northeast United States. The latest indications are this is now going to get pushed to the north, and we're going to stop that feed, and if anything, we're going to start to warm up. But we'll oscillate back and forth, some warm, and then some cold, followed by more warm. That second warmth, a major intrusion of warm air, as a matter of fact. Taking a look at the temperature anomalies. Across the country, conditions are actually relatively warm, as you can see here. And even our coldest of cold is really not that cold. So pretty warm stuff here, and this is going to be first of two mild intrusions. Main concentration, this is the GFS station centered on Burlington. And we can see a little bit of rain here, a little bit of mixed precipitation, kind of rain, snow. And this is the next weather system moving in for tomorrow as we get a little bit warmer air aloft. And then this little system is fairly nothing, so it's really not a big deal, and that's why it's not really an impact for any utilities. We dry out on Thursday, and then that's the next weather system. Note the rain, potential for some freezing. Again, this is centered west of the Green Mountains in Burlington. East of the Green Mountains, I would expect to see a lot more of these red whiskers here, indicating the possibility of some freezing rain. So this will be a quick transition. Not expecting a lot of icing, but certainly a travel issue and something we're going to have to watch for a little bit of wet snow as well. However, the transition seems to be fairly quick, and that's good news there. In terms of melted precipitation, you can see close to about 1 inch amounts, ½ inch here, so a little bit less in southern areas, a little bit more in northern areas. The main area for precipitation will be this frontal system that gets kind of elongated later in the period. We're back into some major temperature oscillations, as you can see here with the GFS ensemble. And the temperature makes a pretty good rise, levels off, and then we jump up on Tuesday above 35 for most of the region, 35, even low 40s. And then a cold front sweeps on through. We can see a little bit of back-end precipitation with that cold front, probably in the form of snow, and maybe some wet snow for a short period of time. And then a pretty good plunge in temperature. And then we do it over again. Now, the GFS ensemble is not as bullish on the next intrusion. However, the European is pretty strong. Temperatures could even hit 50 degrees, and some of these GFS ensembles, I think, are lagging just a little bit behind what we're really anticipating. It's going to go well above 32 degrees, unfortunately, and it looks like there could be 2 rainstorms ahead of Christmas. And from the Weather Prediction Center, you can see the warm anomaly temperatures, all this push of warm, milder air. Colder, of course, up in the northern Rockies, the northern plains, sort of neutral out in the west coast. What about 3 days later? Not a lot of change. You can see still some mild air in the eastern part of the country. However, it does get colder. You can see some minus 21, so a pretty good shot of cold air, and there's going to be some very cold weather as we get a little bit into the Christmas era time. It does look like we're going to see some warm air hang out for a while, though, on the eastern seaboard. So looking at the European ensemble here with anomalous temperatures, and what you can see is just how warm it's going to become, where temperatures are going to get probably closer to 10 degrees above normal. And this is valid Wednesday. That's into the day on Wednesday. We're going to jump ahead here, and you can see colder air work on in for Thursday. That's that Arctic chill. And you can see what I mean by the temperature oscillating. Cold air then pushes on out, We got warm air coming in. This is the system that is going to be affecting us on Saturday. And you can see just how warm it is. This is Saturday afternoon. Those temperatures are anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees above normal. That's very significant. And this is the European ensemble, 51 members, so it's pretty accurate that we're going to get into a much warmer air mass. And then take a look at the colder air mass that follows that with these sort of weather whiplash in terms of temperature off to the west of us. But this is 9 days out here, and it finally makes it into the region here. But the coldest air continues to stay to the west and a little bit north and west of the eastern seaboard. That's it from here. Thanks for watching. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights Consulting.